Hello everyone, welcome to my video and my channel. So today I'm starting a new project. Now if you've been around a while you'll go, oh, she's making another rice bag. So these are my rice bag caddies. My last one was this little guy, which was a series I did in conjunction with Susanna. She did a calendar and I used all of the animal images that she had for each month that they popped up on and use them on my little rice bag. So that video, finishing the rice bag, was published about middle of March. So my very first one was this French one. When I came back from France, having collected some beautiful fabrics, 2023, I used the sides of my rice bag to showcase my fabrics. Then I did a Japanese inspired one with all sorts of fabrics from Japan. Now, what I do is these are a place to store fabrics connected to the little bag. So I sort of use them as a caddy to sit on my shelf and hold the bits and bobs connected to the front most of the time. Now, the difference with my rice bags is they're not made in the traditional method where the seams are all hidden within the bag. The inside seams are of the lining, but the sides are all slow stitched together. It's all hand stitched. The only sewing machine that I use is making the lining, but even then you don't need to. You could easily stitch it together. In the description are some of the videos I watched way back in 2023 showing how to make a rice bag. Then I adapted it to more of a caddy, a vessel. But I left the tabs on the top, the drawstrings that pull it together. So if I did want to take it somewhere, you know, all my bits won't fall out. So that was the next one. Then Arty Farty Eddie come along and her channel was exploring some quilting techniques, all completed by hand and then layering little bits and bobs on. So I tried the style of strip quilting that she was doing, and then each side became a version of, and I just picked a fabric that suited, like it was all coordinated and stitched into it and created, like that's a log cabin. And inside I keep my neutral fabrics. So they have been so handy, especially when I'm filming. I can pick up those bags and, you know, go for it. So you're probably wondering what's she going to do next? Well, I've been quietly collecting some Liberty fabrics. This was a sampler that I bought when I was at a retreat with, I think it was Forage, way back. And I've been picking away at those. I've got some random additional ones that have just come in kits. When I've gone to Ballarat, I've picked up some additional Liberties. That's not even a Liberty, but it sort of suits the style of a Liberty. This is a Japanese fabric, frou-frou. So I guess what I'm planning to do is another little bag, but in the Liberty style of fabrics. So tiny prints, and this one's not even Liberty, it's another Japanese fabric. So they sort of coordinate together really well. So it's a little bit of a mix. And I'm calling this bag my morsels because, this is something that I've been throwing together for about a month. Whenever I think about this project, I've been putting together bits and bobs. Now I'll explain the hexagons another time because I'm thinking there might be hexagons on here as a feature element. But anyway, we'll get back to that. That's some little Liberties I bought from Beck at So Be Curated, and I've got a few more kicking around, but these were just colours that sort of grabbed my attention in a handful. So what I'd like is to also have some embroidery. So I've just picked some bits and pieces. This is another example of some Liberties that I've picked up in my travels. So if you will. This is what I'm thinking, is this little Liberty rice bag, and even then it's going to have Japanese fabrics on it, so don't quote me on totally Liberty, will hold all my Liberty bits and pieces. So that's what I like to do with keeping collections of fabrics together. So I might try and stay within the family of Liberty. So that means these Japanese ones do need to be removed. They're so pretty. So I've been collecting for a little while. They're very expensive Liberty fabrics. Like, that's not a Liberty. So I put my hand into my Just Because quilts. I know they are all Liberties because it's like a sampler. So I'm definitely going to delve into those. I don't know about you, so if I don't know, it's out. Now let me just unwrap this. Just bear with me. Sorry, the crinkle may annoy some. There's quite a few Etsy sellers online that you can buy collections of Liberties that they've put together. So I've been doing that as well. Just every so often I come across someone that's a fabric store in Australia that's selling Liberties, and it's a great way to get a sampler of fabrics. I love how these have got that little bit of fluoro in them as well. I still haven't pulled out my fluoro zips, my fluoro threads, and had to play with them yet either. I think that's why I'm moving my Just Because quilt along a little bit. If you've noticed that the last few blocks have been all crammed into a couple months. There we go. And then that was one little pack. And then this is another one. So got a little bit of a range of randomness, which is really cool. There we go. So this little caddy will hold these fabrics. So what I've done in the first prepping stage is all of my little caddies, rice bag caddies, I use a fairly thick canvas-like fabric. It's still easy enough to stitch through. It's not the most pleasant, but it helps with the structure of the bag. So that's quite a heavy weight. Then there's a little piece of felt wadding. You can use blanket. I'm using scraps from when I was making quilts, so I'm finally getting to the bottom of all those scraps, but we're getting there. This is a piece of beautiful Irish linen. Now that's from a tablecloth that had some embroidery on it. I've cut the embroidery pieces out. They're in my box of bits and bobs to use one day, and I had all of this fabric left over. So I decided that I would have a bit of a base, a background, and it was going to be this beautiful linen, and it was a good way to use it. So I've prepped my 4 sides. Now there is a 5th side, which is the base, which I won't worry about at this stage because depending on how this evolves, the colour is selected accordingly. So, and it's just a camfered stitched base. Same principle, same heavy duty canvas, then the piece of wadding, felt, pellin, blanket, whatever you want to use, doesn't matter. As long as you're starting to get a little bit of structure there. These are not soft floppy bags. They need to hold their sides. When you put all your stitching on and all your embellishing, it seems to happen anyway. But yeah, that's the principle. These are slightly overhanging this top fabric because I'll trim it back. When you stitch, everything sort of pulls in a little bit. So I decided that, look, I'm going to just give myself a little bit of grace with a bit of overhang and then trim it back when I'm done. So 1 block at a time. I have no idea design, what I'm planning to do. I've thought of a few things, as in just bomb it with fabrics and then canvas stitch, or use little morsels of things. So I'm just not sure where this will go. So let's put these aside. Now hexagons. I was thinking of adding some paper hexagons to the piece. So what I've done is, I haven't made a journal for ages, years. And I had bought a couple packs of fabric from Rachel, Italian papers, and also some Florentine paper. So I went to that little stash and I cut myself out some hexagons. Now I just use a template. Where did I put that template? Hang on a minute. I'm just grabbing my hexagons and other quilting shapes. And I used one of my templates from Beck's Sobe, I think. No, I didn't. I just used a generic one that I bought from Dewdrop In, my local. So this little guy is a 1 1/4 hexagon, I think, a 1 inch. So you measure that inch, 1 1/4. But that finished hexagon is 1 inch, which is this inside. So on this paper, I just traced around and created my hexagon. Now the Florentine paper and the antique rag papers and things like that were really fragile, so I backed them on some old scrapbook paper. So now they've got a little bit of structure. Now the reason I've got these is I want to explore again an idea, concept / design element that I did a few years back. I should have grabbed that journal. I might pause the video and grab it and show you what I'm thinking. Won't be a moment. Okay, I'm back. Now, this is the idea that's floating around in my head. See these little hexagons here? This was a project I did also in collaboration with Susanna, where we explored vintage sewing techniques. And one of the month's prompts was hexagons. So I made some hexagons out of fabric, like you would normally. I made some out of lace. I made some out of the vintage paper and also the embroidery. And some I turned upside down, some I left the right way, stitched some together, scattered some. So that's the idea that's sort of floating around in my head for these. I guess my question that I'm yet to discover, will these suit that fabric? This might just have to be parked as an idea one day and I come back and play with this a little bit more. But I've prepped the hexagons, you know, just in case. So that's what that's about. My concern is everything's going to get too busy and maybe this won't coordinate in, but it'd be a nice little element if it will work. They might be too big for my sides. So they're pretty big. So I just don't know, guys. So stay tuned. This might inspire you for another project. So I thought, oh, look, I'm going to mention it, that's where this has been percolating. Okay, so let's get that out of the way. The other thing I've got sitting here is a selection of the embroideries. I like the idea of the cross stitch to keep it as a bit of a theme. And being that this is going to be morsels, maybe this could end up being not morsels of liberty, it might be morsels of embroidery. I don't know. So I'm just, I guess, giving you the overall concept of the piece. So let's begin. I don't know where to begin. I have tried to film this so many times and stopped because I just wasn't sure where to begin. Let's have a look at this cross stitch because I'm really digging the idea of the cross stitch. Like a feature piece. Oh, it's so pretty. It's so hard to cut into them. My concern is the embroideries are just too big. So then I start dropping down to little little embroideries. Then my concern is everything is so busy. Everything is wrapped up so pretty. It's a shocker, isn't it? What am I trying to achieve? I love that blue. Just place some fabrics down, girl. Do I want a little piece? Do I want a big piece? I don't know. Do I want a feature? Pick your feature first. The struggle is real. That was another one that caught my eye as a pretty little. I thought about creating a garden of embroidery and then little bits. Let's cut you out. Yeah, I'm happy to fussy cut you out as a little element. It's tricky, isn't it? When you've got such a small place to be working with your fabrics, you've really got to think about your final look. Do you just want a collage of lots of fabrics? Or do you want to have a little bit of air here and there and some feature pieces? I swear this project has been sitting for months on my desk. I've been busting to try a project with Liberty fabrics because I've been slowly collecting over the years. Every time I go to Ballarat, there's a store in Balan that specialises Rosemill. Oh, I should have looked that up. Rosemill Cottage. Please correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below. Australian business in a beautiful little country town, and Susanna and myself, when we've hosted retreats in Ballarat, have taken our guests there for a little bit of shopping. So I always pick up, you know, a few of these little guys just to, you know, build a little collection. Liberties are not cheap. They really aren't. But unless you're doing a big quilt, you don't need a lot of the fabric. Having said that, there are some fabrics in my stash that are 1/2 metre. They're ones that, gosh, if I ever have time to make a quilt, I would so love to do a quilt in Liberties. So I've said to myself, blue would be my base colour for that quilt. So if I see a Liberty I really love, I get 1/2 metre of it. I think I've got 3, and that's probably plenty. So hand paper piecing, English paper piecing is all classic Liberty fabrics. All right, we have ourselves a feature fabric, a feature. So if we just have less is more. I find Liberty fabrics very intense. I don't know what you guys think. I find them very full-on prints. I'm thinking we just add a little bit. I don't think they're going to tear. No, they don't tear real well. I might grab my dressmaking scissors. You know, the scissors that no one touches? Those scissors. And let's just see what we can piece together. I'm going to take a slither off of you. How big do we want? That's crooked. Of course it's crooked. How big do we want our pieces of Liberty? We want little stitched pieces, big chunky pieces. I don't know. But we can have a play, and if something pleasing comes, great. Project is off and racing. If nothing comes, well, that's just it, isn't it? We'll keep, just getting my bin close, we'll keep percolating until we figure something out. I sort of feel like I need a bolt of blue. Then do I bring you over to it? It's very plain, it's very boring. Once you undo that, it's on, isn't it? They're so cute. I think Beck calls these little lollies. I suspect that some of these may not even be Liberty, you know. Probably Japanese floral fabrics as well. Oh my goodness. You just can't keep up. These designers that keep bringing out these beautiful fabrics. Do I want pink? I don't know. Oh, I'm so tempted to pause the video. I feel so indecisive. Isn't it funny? I'm thinking I need another feature, and I'm thinking along the lines of the blue. Like another cluster. I don't know. I do not know. So I've got those as well. Do I go back to the... No. I tell you, too much pink. Got that blue, too much pink. No. A little bit of yellow. I could break it up a little bit. Let's cut you out. I wouldn't say it's jumping out at me as being super, super cool, but we'll see. So yeah, that's the project. It's going to be 4, maybe 5 videos, one side per video of collaging these little fabrics onto a side of a rice bag inspired caddy. I never know what to call this caddy. Be lots of camphor stitch, clusters of stitches, random stitches. I just don't want to think too much about it, but look at me, I'm overthinking it already. And it's going to be called My Liberty Morsels. And it probably won't even be all Liberty because I don't have the selvages of some of these fabrics, and I bet there's some Japanese ones in there. I tell you, it's hard to keep it straight, isn't it? See little extra bits. So there is that yellow, so that does work for me. I feel like it needs to go that way. I feel like I need an iron. Maybe I need a little bit of lace. I feel like I could do something more with the fabric, but very fresh and bright. And do I go contrasting away from the colour scheme? I don't mind that. Maybe I need some lace, guys. Where's my lace? Just some bits and pieces in here, a bit of ticking. think I'm building a garden bed. That did pop into my head, that using some embroideries create a garden bed scene. Make it a bit random, not so straight. You guys can't see that. But is it enough? This hexagon idea, let's go and revisit that. So do we do these paper hexagons that I edge in fabric, or do we make some new hexagons? I don't know. See, they would be stitched through, because if I was to pretend this is a template ready to have fabric wrapped around it, when they're so little, I will lose that much of it all the way around. If they were a little bit bigger, hello Fudgy, it wouldn't be so bad. Or I park that idea and go to my little container here, because I've got some really small hexagon shapes, like tiny. Here they are. Look at these things. Oh my goodness. Maybe, now what are these? Oh, these are pentagons. Pentagons make cool flowers. Look at the size of them. Are you serious? Who in their right mind bought these? What do you put in the centre of a pentagon? I know you guys are probably going, come on girl, catch up. Is it a hexagon? Oh, I'm not doing that. Like seriously, how small are they? I thought I had some hexagons, little hexagons. Let's have a look. There we go, but not so little. I think these were given to me actually. Gosh, they're small. Oh my goodness. These are pretty bad too, but these are 5/8 hexagons. Let's have a look at that. I just think the hexagons might be a lovely way of showcasing, hello Fudgy, little bits of the fabric. Let's have a look. 5/8. Are you serious? Look at the size of these. So if there were some little ones created, I could use those as little ways of bringing a bit more of the Liberty fabric in. So let's just move you up a little bit. I sort of think you're very pretty, but I was drawn to this. It's a bit matchy. I don't want to get down the rabbit hole of cutting out a flower to suit the hexagon, because you just Swiss cheese your fabric, and I don't think I want to do that. I think I'd be better off just don't overthink it and do that. So allowing a little bit of turned over edge. We'll have a play. We need my glue stick. I should probably baste them with thread, but I'm going to use the glue stick method. Where is it? Here it is. Let's trim this down a bit. Oh my gosh, these are tiny. This could be the first and only. I feel like this is just too plain. I feel like we need some more neutral textures background. This could be a real struggle, this. That's the wonkiest hexagon I've ever seen. But that's okay. Let's just get this on the right side. Hang on, hold the horses. Little bit of glue just to hold it. Why is it we get precious about fabrics at times? I don't understand. We hoard them because we don't want to. Aren't you pretty? You are cute. So if there was some little hexagons built into the image, just to interest it up a bit. Oh, I don't know, guys. Maybe we need to do a couple more. Don't mind that. Bring a little bit of that grey in. Let's bring it in. See, that will then allow me to consider orange, actually. Sometimes it's the connecting fabric that helps you. I'll just cut a little square out, not try and do the whole hexagon shape until we have our little piece. I should iron that. That would be more pleasurable. But she's not. She's just going to go for it. A little seam allowance so that I can turn it over. Not convinced he's right. Not convinced of that. Not convinced of anything, really. You're thinking, gosh, she's struggling here. She is, to be honest. Once again, just turn over those edges. And this is just one way of doing this. You can use needle and thread and baste your sides down. Is another option. I did consider doing a log cabin styled piece as well, using the fabrics. But I thought, no, I'm going to try this collaged method first. Maybe we could put log cabin on the other sides. I don't know. Maybe. So that little fellow would be stitched to there. And then maybe we find another, like you. Okay, we feel like we're moving forward at least here. Cut ourselves another little square. Did I tell you the size of these little guys? Yeah, I did. 5/8. That is just ridiculously itty bitty. Won't take long to stitch them together, will it? Oh my goodness. Imagine doing a big project with these. I don't think so. So I'm just going to trim my seam allowance. It's not quite 1/4 inch. It's probably a little bit more generous, but they're so itty bitty. I've been watching a lot of English paper piecing videos, and they go back years on YouTube, years and years. And some use a green thread, some use a grey thread. This is the joining of them I'm talking about. The ones I've done, I've just used a cream. So maybe I play with using a green or a, you know, something a bit different. Depends, being this is a slow stitch piece, maybe the threads that connect these little hexagons showing, or the stitches, is not a bad thing. Maybe it's a feature, something to think about if you're making one of these little guys. Once you get your 4 sides done, let's talk about construction, because you might shoot ahead and not be wanting to wait for me. Once you get your 4 sides decorated, I just use an overcast stitch to join them, which I've shown in many, many videos. There's a playlist. I just literally put the 2 sides together here and stitch, stitch, stitch. I do the whole outer edge, and then I drop him in using some clips, and then overcast stitch right around the base. And then the very top, once I've made my lining, which goes in here, you'll have to watch the playlist, otherwise we'll be here forever talking about construction of these things. Before I do that stitching around the top, I put in my little tabs. Now the lining is also caught when I'm doing these side stitches, and that way it's in that seam on the side, catches the lining as well as the pretty panels on the outside. So that I just remember that. Okay. So little hexagons. So I guess this container could be used to hold English paper piecing pieces. You know, you make a heap of hexagons and the little caddy is used for that. I just don't know about you. Pop you away. What else can we add? Keep coming back to this cross stitch. Well, what I might do is I feel like I need to, I don't know. Maybe I need a little piece of this. Maybe just a little piece, like cut a tiny little. I'd do that. Be good if it tore nicely. Oh, look, I've cut 2. Oh no, look at that. I've taken a chunk out of both. But that's okay. That forces my hand a little bit, doesn't it? Happy accidents. Bob Ross, the famous painter. Maybe I do a little bit more. Collaging. What else have I got? Maybe I need neutral. Didn't I say that sentence out aloud? A little bit more texture is probably what I'm missing. I'm just dipping into my neutral bucket here. A little bit of hemp. I don't know. just don't know. What about these guys? What were we gonna do with these? And then stitch into it a little bit of something something. Because it's a stiff side, I believe that these will be okay and they'll hold their own without feeling like they're getting damaged. Maybe it's the text that I'm loving. It just pushes back all of the floral. You know, it's the neutral I'm feeling. I've definitely got some more antique paper. See, that's sort of not quite right. These here, I was thinking I could bring fabric in around them. See how it's a bit short? Maybe we make one of those. Where's these bits here? I don't mind. There's another red. A purple. No. Making a mess, that's what I'm making. Oh, that's so pretty. You are bright. Orange. I was talking about bringing a bit of orange in. Gosh, there's like a million of these prints, isn't there? I find that seems pleasing. I don't know where this will end up, but what the plan is we turn over the edges. And it becomes just a little, so we want that like that. Is that enough of a turnover? Yes. So I want a fairly decent seam allowance. Might not be enough space on the sides. And then we'll get our glue. Let's clean that up a little bit. And piece down our fabric. And it becomes a feature. That one's a bit. Just bear with me, guys, as we try and put this together. Just don't know. I wonder if it's because these fabrics are so bright and, you know, full on, that it's what's throwing me a little bit. I like a bit of air in my so it's very overpowering, isn't it, that size? My tummy's rumbling. I just don't know. Add it to the maybe one day pile. just looking up at the TV. Just going to break this back down, see what other combinations I can come up with. Let's have you on your own out there. Let's have you do a little bit more random instead of these straight lines. Oh, my tummy, I can hear it rumbling. Put you up there, you coming up to there. You connecting into there. So the fabrics are featured all together, and then the embroidery is off to the side. No, I don't like that either. I sort of feel like I need to build from here. You guys will be thinking this is the most painful experience to watch this. Why is my tummy rumbling so much? Maybe I need to go have breakfast. I know once you get all your stitches in it, they really come alive. Your pieces take on a whole new look. And you get all that camphor quilt stitch, you know, running stitch. Lots and lots of rows of running stitch. Where's that little... Look, I'm feeling like that's a little bit better, but I don't know. Look, I'm going to go have some breakfast, guys, and I'm going to have a think about this. I'm just not happy. All right, guys, I'm going to pause the video, have some breakfast, and just sort of percolate on this a little bit. Be back soon. Okay, I'm back. I've had some breakfast. I feel like my brain has a little bit of, you know, decision-making power. And when I walked back to the table, I removed this little guy. And these fellows, I spread them apart. Now, the plan was to join them like the classic English paper piecing. But I'm going to spread them apart and stitch them down as they are with a bit of space between them, just as, you know, a bit more of a design element. What else did I do? I trimmed this tatting and the little piece that came off the end there. I thought I might stitch up here. I think that's the texture I'm missing. So I thought I'm gonna go with that. Oh, look, I've just spotted that fabric. I'm gonna go with this as it is so far, because I think that's enough. And I have a feeling that some of the other sides will be more intense with the fabrics. This will be one of the sides that is just, you know, a drizzle of the fabrics. So who knows where this adventure will go. I'm going to pin these pieces. And I was thinking about these too. I might leave the papers in them. You're probably thinking, why is she doing that? I just like the fact that they're going to be quite crisp and bold. and then I might stitch through the paper to hold them into position, is what I'm thinking. But time will tell as we play with the project. Get this all pinned down, and then in the next video I can pop back with the progress, and then we can do another side. Just grabbing pins here, and they're all, I pushed them all down into my needle. Into my pin cushion, and they're hard to get out. So I've just recently cut my fingernails, so I can't get my fingers underneath. Maybe this is going to be a tribute to quilting techniques, and then I could do a log cabin, and this represents English paper piecing. Who knows how will this evolve? This little guy is just not going anywhere. Fudgy's out of his bunk. I love the fact there's embroidery involved, and I think there will be, you know, embroidery brought into these pieces. There's another one that caught my eye. This is a little tablecloth. Love that. That has potential. But anyway, they're just a selection of bits and pieces sitting to one side that I felt had some form of synergy with this project. And we'll see where it all goes. All right, guys, I'll bring that up to the camera so you can see. Got all my favorite elements: fabric, lace, embroidery. Beautiful, love it. Love the color scheme too. The blue and the pink, and then I can go a little stronger with my colors and bring some oranges in and things like that. But we'll see how we go. All right, guys, I'm going to say goodbye. I'm going to toddle off and stitch this down. I might just quickly show you the stitching I'll use for those hexagons. Will just be a stitch on either side of it. Yeah, all right. Have a lovely day, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye. Hi guys, I'm back. So my little piece is nearly completed. So I'm just going to show you what I've done so far. I think I want to do a little bit more stitching, but in highlight color, like pick up this pinky red. So at the moment, I'm happy with what I've got, but I just think, look at that shadow. I just think it needs just a little bit of something, maybe up here. So I canvas stitched the whole thing, as in running stitched the entire background, catching these two liberties in the process. I've done a little overcast stitch around the doily embroidery, so it is very much part of the background now. My three little hexagons, I took the papers out so I can use those again, and then just slip stitched around their edge, and I left a gap between them. I didn't join them. I thought I liked the little hint of the border in there, and then my little piece of tatting I've stitched across here, so it looks like a little garden fence with my, I think they're lilies. So I'm calling this one nearly done. I just feel like I need something up here, so I'm just going to let it percolate for a little bit. I'm yet to trim it, so now I can go around and get rid of all of the excess, bringing the piece back to that 6.5 inch circumference. It's not a circle, perimeter. In the meantime, I had some more Liberty fabrics drop in from an Etsy store. Now this Etsy store is sopeaceful.com.au. So I'll just show you that if you're interested. This is one of two. The other one, I didn't keep the card, and I'm not sure. I think it was someone sort of destashing a bit, where this is an actual little shop. So let me just show you what I got. this little pack here, 20 pieces, 12 centimetres by 15 centimetres, so 5 inch by 6 inch. The pack Q, was that a no, was $26. And I've got a little bit of lots, which for these projects, that's all I need. You know, these fabrics are about 64 roughly dollars a metre, and you don't need that much. Then there were some pieces that just were beautiful. A fat quarter is what I bought. This is Bridgerton Bouquet Parade B, so 20 inches by 26 inches. So that is a very pretty one. So in the fat quarter category, this was another one, Emma and Georgia. Look at that. I've got that in a sample somewhere. So as soon as I saw it, I'm like, yeah, I know I would enjoy a bigger piece of that. So I guess this is a good way to have a look at some, look at that one, Eva Bell A. Just gorgeous. And that's a fat 1/8, so that was $8. 10 inch by 26 inch, another fat 1/8. Little pop of orange. This one here is another fat 1/8. So there was a couple fat 1/8s, a couple fat quarters, and then these little mix packs. This little mix pack was 10 62 inch fat somethings, pack R2, and this was a little version of it. And then on the back, this one had the autumnal tones wrapped into it. That's a really good pack, 20 pieces. And see that fabric in there? That's that fabric. So I guess this is a lovely way to have a look at a bit of a range, and then you can go back to the store and buy a bigger piece of ones that, you know, really jump out at you. That guy on the edge there is a Betsy. I'm finding myself being edumacated here. And from the previous store, which I showed you earlier, they had a lot of Betsy fabrics. So I sort of got a pack with a bit of everything, and then a smaller pack with a little bit of everything. So I have plenty of Liberty now for future projects. So I thought I'd just show you those. I'll put the name of this store, this second store, in the description below. I'll look up this one, and if it's a proper store, it'll be there. If it's not, and it's just someone destashing and a bit random, I won't bother, because they usually run out of fabric pretty quick. But if it's an actual shop front, I'm not sure if they ship overseas. You'll have to investigate that further. But yeah, so if you're chasing a little bit of Liberty and looking for a new place to shop, you might have two, definitely one, might have two options for you. All right, guys, I'm going to sign off. I can now have a think about the next side to the box. I really want to delve into the fabrics. I think now that I've cut some, I'm sort of feeling like less precious. So maybe a log cabin, you know, an intense log cabin. But I did so enjoy doing this. So maybe a whole side of more of these. I don't know. I got to have a think about it. I've got 3 more sides, so I can do anything. All right, guys, look after yourselves. I'm not sure when you'll see another video for this little project. It's my whenever I feel like playing with Liberty, celebration of Liberty. I will be back with another episode, and we've got more sides to do. All right, guys, look after yourselves. Bye.